What's up, y'all? Welcome back to I'll Just Let Myself In with Lish Speaks. Today we got a solo episode. I just wanted to spend some time with you, me and you. So we got a solo episode today. And what I'm really going to be talking about is going into inspiration, right? So things that inspire me, things that I've been getting into lately. So y'all know what we got to do. We got to start off with my favorite segment, What I'm Stepping In, which is where I show y'all my sneakers for the week. And this week, I have on a sneaker that I just really love. It's called the Air Flea 2. It's a Nike collab with Cactus Plant Flea Market. I love this brand for so many reasons. One, I just love creative, funky shoes. Y'all know that. These shoes have snaps that you can use, kind of like the little, trinkets that people put on Crocs, but it's cooler. It snaps. It has a really big, oversized Nike check, and it's just unlike anything that I've ever seen Nike do. You should be seeing the close-up on the screen. Incredible shoes, super comfortable. My husband and I went to Vegas in December, a little bit after they came out, and I wore them all day long and just had a blast in this shoe. Fun, comfortable, definitely not for everybody, but it's for who it's for. If you like them, check them out, find them and get them. Hey, so y'all, we've been in this thing for a couple of weeks now. And first of all, I just want to say I'm so humbled and encouraged by all the great feedback we've been getting from people watching the episodes, how things have touched you, how you've learned from some of our guests. I'm just excited that I finally, let myself in and stepped into this arena because it's something that I've wanted to do for so long, something that I was passionate about for so long. And so for me, one of the ways that I'm able to do this show and to do so many of the other things that I do is that I really binge on inspiration. So this is something that all my friends, people who are close to me, they hear me talk about all the time. We binge watch TV, we binge watch movies. I binge on inspiration. And for me, that basically means I will take time out of my day, of my week, of my month to go through inspirational content for a long period of time. So I might be on YouTube for hours watching people who inspire me, be in interviews, content that they might be putting out, old content. I watch stuff from people who have passed long ago, interviews from them and things that just inspire me. And the beautiful thing about that is you get to learn so much from other people's mistakes, but also from the things that they did well. And so for me, I really just want to make sure that we understand that inspiration is super important. There's a couple of people that I just love on social media right now. Most of us digest our be it information or negative content via social media. And so I wanted to give you guys a couple of people from social media that inspire me and why. A couple of people that I watch and why. And I want y'all to let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know through our email. Let me know who's inspiring you right now. What type of content is inspiring you right now? What you're feeling. One of the people that come up for me first is Sarah Jakes Roberts. And this is a person that so many of you follow and know and like. And, one of the things I love about Sarah Jakes Roberts is I've watched her from the beginning of her journey as a preacher, right? So I remember I used to watch One Church LA, and before it was even called One Church LA, but I used to watch PT do his sermons. And he used to preach and do all these really cool things, actually really helped me through a really difficult time in my life. And I remember when he invited Sarah, I want to say it was for like a Mother's Day or something. It was a women-specific holiday. And he had invited her to come speak. And she came and she spoke a word, but she was still timid and like getting there, You could tell that she was anointed, but more comfortable in the background, more comfortable, probably, I don't know her, but it seemed like she would be more comfortable in like a one-on-one conversation with somebody. And to just watch her over the years go from being used in that way to being used in such a powerful way where she's on the stage at her daddy church preaching most Sundays. I just think that she did it and she didn't lose herself, right? She didn't obviously this is all me watching, but it seems like she didn't lose herself. She didn't lose her personality. She still uses the same lingo that we use. She does, she dresses the way that young women dress, but she still is modest and fashionable. And so I'm super inspired by her. And then to be honest, like the topics and the things that she talks about, they just hit me differently than a lot of the other preaching that I hear. I don't think people often realize this, but as a woman of faith, you grow up hearing about a man named Jesus and the men in the Bible, mostly the disciples, from a man who's probably your minister or your pastor over and over and over and over again. And just like we talk about how representation matters in race, right? Like, we want kids to see themselves, versions of themselves, so that they know that something is possible. I think I didn't realize until I started regularly listening to Sarah Jakes that I needed to hear the word of God from the perspective of a woman. It transformed a lot of the way that I see God's word. And I think also just from a woman who is not much older than me, if she's even older than me at all. She seems like she's around, my age. And so it really just, it hits me differently, So she's a page I like to go to. I like her podcast. I like her Instagram posts. I love that she's married, seems to be happily married, a great mom. Super inspired by Sarah Jakes Roberts. Next up is somebody that I found recently through a post on Instagram where she was on a panel and she was sharing a story about her dog. And she was mentioning how when her dog was little, she used to put the mirror up in front of her dog, and her dog would kind of like play with the mirror and that kind of thing. And her dog has grown and gotten bigger. And recently, her son, I think, had put a mirror up in front of her dog, and the dog got scared and ran away. And she said, her dog ran away from the mirror because she forgot she was a big dog. And she talked about how as women, we forget that sometimes we're big dogs. And from that clip, I started following Dr. Tracy Lynn, and she's an entrepreneur of faith. She's a woman of business, multi-million-dollar businesses. But I really just appreciate her tenacity. I love the way she speaks. I love a confident woman. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I understand that there's beauty in a gentle, quiet spirit. And I think that has a lot more to do with just how you speak. That's a whole nother lesson for another time. But she truly... she carries herself the way I want to carry myself as I age. She's a mature woman. She's a little bit of an older woman. And I think about who I want to be when I get older, who I want to be with my businesses, who I want to be in terms of the way that I communicate the things that have happened to me in my life. She's a great orator. Like, she can tell a story and really draw you in. And there are spiritual components to what she shares, but she's really appealing to women being excellent in business. And I feel like that's something that I needed. So I find myself kind of binging on inspiration through her. I'm going to share two more women. I could go on and on because there are a lot of women, and then I'll share about some women in my real life, but there are a lot of women who I find inspiration from online. But the next one is Erica Campbell from the group Mary Mary. Erica Campbell, I've been listening to Mary Mary since I was a kid, first of all. And so I remember very distinctly the first time I ever heard Shackles on the radio. And I was like, this is a gospel song, because I grew up in church. And so, I listened to the radio. Sometimes I had to sneak and listen to certain songs because my mom was like, what you listening to? But I remember hearing Shackles on the radio and being like, this is fire. Like, this is really fire, from the production to just the whole vibe of it. And at that time, I didn't know Erica or Tina's name or anything. But as the years have gone on, obviously I've witnessed their music, their influence on culture, being one of the first people in gospel to do a reality TV show, being one of the first people in gospel or groups in gospel to kind of dress the way that they want to dress, and and have a connection to the youth. Obviously outside of the Kirk Franklins and Ty Tribbett's of the world. But for women, Mary Mary is one of the first groups that I saw do that. And so For me, when I look at Erica Campbell and all that she is doing, right? She, first of all, is a first lady of a church. I think it's called Cali Worship Center, if I'm not mistaken. She's first lady of a church. She is a recording artist. She has a radio show. She's active on social media and seems to be very active in the lives of her children and her husband. And for me, it's one of those things that Erica Campbell inspires me not to get comfortable. She could very easily be like, listen, I'll do my Mary gigs and, let the chips fall where they may. But she is she seems to be constantly pushing herself to do more and to do it well. She recently came out with an album and she kind of remixed or redid a song that I love by Jodeci. And I love how she still has that connection to old school R&B, to blackness, to the streets. I love that she posts different things on her social media story that some are very spiritual and some are just informational. Some are for our health. Some are just funny. It gives me, I feel, license to just be me. I also have ambitions to be in media. I also do music. I also am married and want to have children. So when I look at her, at least on social media, I feel very inspired. Like, nah, you can't have it all. Maybe not at the same time, but you can't have it all. I also, and this is no shade to her sister at all, but I love that she is going on to do her own thing, and she didn't because if you watch the reality show, her sister Tina kind of wanted to slow down a little bit, which I think is very valuable. I think there's a time in the season for everything, but she wanted to kind of slow down a little bit, be with her family more, and not necessarily be on the road or making Mary albums back to back to back to back. And Tina's still doing her thing. You know what I mean? Erica's still doing her thing. Tina's doing her thing too. She's had some music out, but Erica's still doing her thing. And I love when people are so tenacious that they really don't let anything stop them. It could be very scary, I would assume, to be a part of a group and then kind of go out on your own and do your own thing. But she seems to be rolling with the punches. And so for me, it kind of communicates like, Lish, don't let nothing stop you. You know what I mean? You have a crew, you don't have a crew. You have, whatever God has put in you to do, go after it with all your heart and then let him decide where it's at. Another thing I like that Erica Campbell does before I move on to the next person is she does these great prayers on her Instagram and on her radio show. And I really feel like she prays about things that are not typical. She prays about things that not everybody is talking or thinking about. And it really helps me to know that she's just tapped in. She's tapped in with the culture. She's tapped in, with what people of God really need. And that's something that I aspire to be. I never want to lose touch or just be so focused into what my group of friends, in the body of Christ need or want or like or care about, that I'm not tapped into the story at large of what Jesus wants. So I'm super inspired by Erica Campbell. Last but not least, Dr. Holly Carter is somebody who I'm super inspired by and like to take in her content. Now, Dr. Holly Carter is not going to be on social media every day. She's just not. But when she's on there, sharing what she's working on, sharing what she's doing, I'm super inspired from her content about working out and taking care of your body to her content where she shows the behind the scenes work that she does in production of whether it be a television show or a film or even a concert that she's behind. She just has a commitment to excellence that is really inspiring to me. One, she's cool. She worships. She sings. So you might hear her on a track every now and then. You're going to see her at her local church serving in a worship ministry, which I think is so cool when somebody can be on a movie set with a celebrity one day and make it to their church on Sunday and still serve. She's funny. I think that for me, again, seeing Black women mature, seeing Black women who are older than me, but not lose their swag, not lose their joy. There's a lot of bitter saints, older saints who are not that happy in the Lord. But all these women that I named seem to be very joyous in their relationship with God. And so for me, it's inspiring because that's what I want to be. I don't want to lose my zeal, right? Bible says never be lacking in zeal. I don't want to lose my zeal as I mature and as I age spiritually. So there's definitely something that I just am inspired, by these women and kind of by how they show up. I want to be inspirational, right? I want younger girls, or maybe even older women, to look at me and say, man, Lisha's doing this show. Lisha's going after her dreams. Lisha's, ministering to the youth, by day, that's my job, you know what I mean? And night, depending on the event. I work in a church and minister to the youth from grades 6 to 12. And so I want to inspire them, you know what I mean? I think one thing that all four of these women and many of the women in my life have in common is that they are both cool and full of conviction. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. In fact, I think the conviction is what makes them cooler. And so I'm very blessed that I've been able to be raised around, from my mom to a lot of my mentors as a young Christian, as a young person, to be raised around people who just didn't compromise their convictions or their beliefs to fit in. I think about my relationship with my mom. My mom is probably my biggest spiritual influence, definitely my biggest spiritual influence, in terms of me knowing that I wanted to give my life to Christ and to follow him, in a way that was not just for performance or laid back. My mom raised me to be devoted to God. And one of the most inspirational things about that is no matter what's happening in my life, I can fall back on the idea that God is with me, and that if I am working for him and putting him first, I cannot fail. Even if the thing fails, I cannot fail. And so, finding that inspiration in my mom, and one of my goals for this year is to just get closer to my mom. And we're already close, but, to call her more and to let her into my feelings more. Because I can be the kid that seems like it's all together. And so because of that, sometimes, my parents don't always feel like they need to make sure I'm good or that they have to check up on me. But, it is, I'm trying to take my own responsibility to reach out to my mom more and let her more into my life. And as we talk about things, as we talk about me being married and as we talk about my life, it has just been transformative for me to get to know her as an adult, right? Getting to know your mom for who she actually is outside of just being your mother is a life hack, because just like I'm a woman and I've had a whole life and I've had a couple of different careers and perspectives and thoughts and all types of stuff before I have had a child, I would want my child to know the whole thing of who I am, and not just their mother, not just the person that they've grown up with. And so I'm trying to take it real seriously to get to know my mom. And besides all the inspiration that she's given me by being an educator for almost 30 years, and by having a double master's degree, and just being a brilliant person and a great friend and all the things that she is, just knowing her as a person, understanding her fears, understanding her, what makes her tick, understanding what makes her happy, understanding, some of the things that she went through when I was a kid that I didn't necessarily understand at the time, but now I get, and now I respect, having her share with me things that hurt her, even things that I've done that have hurt her, and giving me the chance to apologize or to just better understand her. It has been such a transformative and inspirational relationship in my life, and I'm just so grateful for her. Another woman that inspires me a whole lot is my sister-in-law. Her name is Julie. And Julie is, first of all, she is so fire. Just as a person. She really is, she's smart. She is funny. She and some friends of hers have a ministry called Marriage Built to Last, and they really do invest in marriages of young people, of older people, just marriages that can go the distance. She is I believe getting a PhD right now, and working in the education system. She has 3 beautiful children, a great marriage, a great home. And I remember when my husband, then boyfriend, told me about her, and what she told me about her on our first date. We were talking about our siblings, and he was like, yo, my sister Julie, like, she's really like a mother figure for me. Like, she really helps me to see God differently. Like, he was like kind of ranting and raving about her. When I finally met her, I was like, oh yeah, I totally see it. And so she's someone that I know, even though I'm married to her brother, like, I know that I could go to her and talk about anything and get help with anything. And just seeing how she has governed her life. And she shared with me, she's like, it hasn't been perfect, but these are the ways that I relied on God. One of the things that, and I may have Dawn throwing a little video in the corner, she was praying for me on our wedding day. She prayed with my entire bridal party. And when I tell you, it took everything in me not to break down crying, because one, I was about to get married and my makeup was done. But the anointing over her life, the power with which she prays, I'm just glad that I'm a person that she's praying for. And so I just love her. Another woman who inspires me, I share 4 women from social media, and I'm going to share 4 women from my real life. Another woman who inspires me to no end is my older cousin, Kenya. As we say, Kenya, because we from New York and we got an accent. But Kenya Harris, my older cousin, she was my matron of honor. Man, so much that I've learned from her about being a wife in this season of my life, about being a friend. She's a person like me who has had decade-long friendships, about weathering the storms that come with family and motherhood and, or life and divorce and finding joy again and all these things. She's just someone who I've looked up to her since I was a child. I'm like, literally, she would get a hairstyle and I would tell my mom, do my hair like Kenya. Like, whatever she dressed, whatever music she listened to, I always just wanted to be like her. And as I've aged, and as we get closer in age, because when you get older, you be like, oh, we ain't that far apart in age. But as I've aged and as we've had some deeper talks just about some of the things I've gone through in my life, I've just realized that I really do have like a blessing in the fact that she's my cousin, and the fact that she supports literally everything me or anyone in our family or friend group does. If you start selling a t-shirt, she's gonna buy one. If you start having she's gonna come. She has never missed an event that I had that she could make it to, that she was in the same town of or in the same city as. And it just makes me feel very supported and very loved. Again, like the other women that I mentioned, when I see myself in the future, there are so many aspects of her life that I want to imitate and want to tweak to make my own for my own life. She's also an entrepreneur. She's an incredible mom, a great wife, and just someone who I look up to, someone who gives me inspiration. I love you, girl. And last but most certainly not least is my older sister, Sephra, who you guys may know as Sephi Cakes. My sister is, I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I'm going to get emotional. My sister is really the person in my life who, without a doubt, I know will do anything to make sure that I'm okay. There is not a doubt in my mind that if I ever call her or just anything, she will do everything in her power to make sure that I have what I need. My sister is, and I won't tell too much of her business. Eventually we'll get her on the couch. She'll tell her own story, but she's someone who's been through a lot. When we talk about God, take me off your strongest soldier list, my sister she need God to take her off the strongest soldier list. Like, she's been through a lot. And with all that she's been through, she still shows up as one of the most giving and caring people that I know. When I was a kid, my sister helped my mom a lot because, you know, she was an older sister of a single mom. And so she helped my mom a lot. She did a lot for my mom, and she did a lot for me and my brother. And she struggles sometimes because of just the level of responsibility that she has at such a young age to come out of that. And one of the greatest gifts I feel like I've been able to give her over the last few years is to release her from having to worry about me. to you know, get my life together, be in a good space, be in a great marriage, to where she knows my little sister is good and I don't have to worry about it. She still worries about me because she's my big sister. But she inspires me to persevere. She inspires me to still serve and do what God has called you to do. You know, like I said, she's been through a lot. She hasn't been dealt the fairest hand in her health. She's had a lot of injuries, several surgeries, just been through a lot. And she still serves. She's on the worship team at her church. She teaches the kids at her church. She's involved with prison ministries. She does anything that anybody in my family pretty much asks her to do, which I've been trying to help her with boundaries, so she's getting better. But she is such a servant when she has a lot of reasons to say, I can't do this. And so being around her, talking to her, seeing her joy, seeing her smile, seeing her just be happy through hard things really calls me higher. You know, she just bought a house. And I was just so happy. I cried when she got the house because I cannot think of a person more deserving of good things after having a few difficult years. And so, you know, when I think about Sister's story, you know, I talk about the women that inspire me and all the cool, great things and fun things they do and whatever. You can inspire somebody even through your hardship. Don't think because you're going through hard things or because your life is difficult or because you have health issues or whatever that you can't be inspiring. She has inspired me more than anybody because she perseveres through those things. I think about the life that she's leading and how she's allowed God to walk her through each obstacle to get to her joy. And I just know for a fact that as God continues to bless her, she is going to be a blessing to so many people. You know, my sister, when I was young, we would listen to music. We love music. And Stevie Wonder's song As, you know, is our song. It's so funny because people, you know, that's a love song. You know, I'll be loving you always. And, you know, he says things like, until the day that 8 times 8 is 4, and that kind of thing. Like, I'll be loving you always no matter what. And my sister at a very young age dedicated that song to me about our relationship. And so whenever I listen to that song or just think about our relationship, I'm just like, man, I have a sister who loves me so loudly and supports me so unconditionally. And I cannot be more grateful for or inspired by you, Seth. She is a pastry chef. So she has a brand called Seffi Cakes. She's worked in other countries and been a pastry chef at resorts. And she went to culinary school, a very prestigious culinary school. And so I would love for you guys to support everything that she's doing. But my sister is my biggest inspiration in my real, actual life. I hope this episode inspired you guys. You know, we always end up asking someone in the grand scheme of things, you know, what do they want their legacy to be? And for me, in the grand scheme of things, I want my legacy to be that I inspired someone to be more than they thought that they could be. This is I'll Just Let Myself In with Lish Speaks. Listen, y'all know the drill. Go ahead and subscribe, follow us, give us a review, share with a friend, and let people know the community that we're building over here at the I'll Just Let Myself In podcast with Lish Speaks. We'll be back, same time, same place. You know where to find us. Peace. Yeah, I might have a great day.